Hi, in the second phase of version 3.2, we'll be getting Anaxa. Anaxa is looking to be the teammate that the HERTA has been looking for all this time, and while also being quite strong of a unit without her as well. But does that mean that he is worth it? Well, here are 3 cool things and 3 annoying things about Anaxa before you pull. Before we start, I'll be giving away 2 supply passes / welcome moon to my subscribers at 7k subs, so make sure you subscribe. For those that don't know what he does, I have a guide, link in the description, but in a nutshell, Anaxa is a wind erudition DPS that focuses on his skill, which deals 5 instances of damage, once at the target and 4 more times prioritizing enemies not hit by the attack. His ultimate deals damage in AoE and inflicts weakness break effects, and his talent which implants a weakness every instance of attack he hits and automatically uses his skill on enemies who have 5 or more weaknesses after he basic attacks or skills them. Overall, he has a very simple kit, but it is very unique like his very flexible skill and weakness implants. But does this being unique make him worth it to pull? Well, that brings us onto the 3 cool things about Anaxa. Anaxa will be the HERTA's best erudition teammate. One extremely strong thing about Anaxa is his ability to be skill point friendly. His automatic skills can be activated through basic attacks, while his basic attacks also grant bonus energy, making it very obvious that he is at least designed to be played using basic attacks, which in conjunction with decently high damage and great utility makes him the best install for the HERTA's teammate. However, despite being clearly made to work alongside the HERTA, Anaxa without the HERTA is still a very powerful unit. Another very strong part about him is that if he is built with personal damage in mind, he is able to perform just as well if not better in certain scenarios compared to the HERTA. And speaking about DPSs in general, since Anaxa as a hyper carry can keep up with the HERTA, that means that he can also keep up with many other top DPSs as well. But to be more specific, Anaxa has a unique property of his skill where he isn't forced to AoE, but it bounces depending on the enemy target count. So hitting 5 times on one target or hitting once each on 5 targets. This means that he is very flexible in the contents he is able to be played in, and since he is also able to implant all weakness types, he will also be quite future proof, as together with his skill point free playstyle, Anaxa actually has incredible longevity as well. Now with all of that being said though, due to him being quite strong in 2 playstyles, it does mean that without completely breaking the meta, some things had to be limited as we move on to the 3 annoying things about Anaxa. In content where the HERTA is mostly played, Anaxa is not a huge upgrade over Jade. In fact, sometimes it may not even be meaningful at all if your Jade is nicely built. What I mean by this is that usually you want to play the HERTA against AoE enemies. Jade does very well against AoE enemies while also being quite skill point friendly and also has pretty frequent attacks, ultimately making both Jade and Anaxa somewhat equal in terms of power in these contents. And speaking of power, although hypercarry Anaxa is very strong, he was obviously not made from the ground up to be a hypercarry. So while he can work and maybe even grant you a couple of fast MOC clears, the fact is that why not just pull for another tailor-made DPS that has full focus on doing damage. So in the future, when new units do come, they might buff the tailor-made DPSs. Which, speaking of, Anaxa is a very standard and traditional DPS unit. That means he doesn't have any certain niche to put him above other DPSs like follow-up attack, break, summon, etc. The only thing he realistically has is high instances of attack. So in addition to being released in the midst of the Remembrance meta, it could be very possible that he does not get any future support or upgrades for a very long time, which could end up being a very devastating thing as it slowly becomes less and less used.